So if you are a working woman, 45 and over, you may be experiencing or starting to experience menopause, and that can be a real pain in the ass. And last week I did an interview with Rose, my wife, sitting next to me, and she talked about the challenges, physical, emotional, mental challenges that she went through for years dealing with menopause, being a person that was active, wanting to, work out and be active again, and really going through a lot of challenges. Right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about her getting through the wall, so to speak, and how the last couple of years have been. Hi, Rosie.
Hello.
Rose is my wife, and so you and I, you were nice enough to, let me interview you last week, and basically, I just wanted to sort of come to the place where you are now, in the last year and a half or two. But the first question I want to ask you is, what do you think or feel your big why was in terms of what kept you going and pushing through? Because I know you had a lot of failures. You had a lot of things you tried during menopause to help you lose the weight, help you reduce or get rid of the hot flashes and all the other crazy things that happen to you. But so what kept you going through to keep pushing to find a solution?
Well, first of all, I didn't feel that my life was over just because menopause had decided to move into my neighborhood without my permission. And that's just the way it is as we age, women anyways. And for me, I wanted to continue to have a very active life. Personally, I have a lot of interests. And if I didn't stay focused on making my health my first priority, then I was not going to be in a position to participate in the activities that I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to make it easy for myself to climb down a mountain, walking a half a mile to get to the beach. It's something I craved. It's something I had done my whole life, and I wasn't about to give it up because my body had changed. I felt like I didn't know my body anymore. I felt like there was an invader, and I wanted to basically have my power back. And that's what it was, is making sure that I was able to do what I wanted to do, but also thinking. I noticed that the changing of my mind happened, and I wanted that back. I wanted to be able to think clearly.
Yeah.
I hated the brain fog.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
It was so, and the problem is that first of all, I don't drink alcohol. I don't participate in a lot of activities that would have harmed my body. And so when that, like for myself, is trying to stay as clean, eat healthy, eat clean, the way I think of it, that can get in the way when your body is acting a particular way. You don't feel like you have control. And I just wanted to fight back against that because I wanted to have power. Here's the thing, I already raised kids. My career, I'd been in my career for over 30 years. I still had more life to lead and do the things I want to do, and I was not going to be captive by this invader that was trying to mess with me.
Well, you obviously had a pretty big why to keep you pushing through. And then talk about when you finally found the solution for you.
Yes.
Talk about kind of your initial feelings or fear around it.
So, well, first, there's a lot of emotions that came into contact. First, there was disbelief because I had tried so many things and nothing really worked. However, and this company, the group of women that I joined, once I went, I believed in their mission statement, and then there was a team. I was given a team of people that really focused on what I needed, and it was individualized. So once that happened, and I just followed I don't know. It's almost like it's not a protocol, but it was something created for me that worked for me. And once I followed it, and not everything was perfect, but I did almost everything to a T. What I noticed is that when my days would be rough, when things weren't working out, I had a group of people I could go to, a community of other women who understood, knew what I needed, and were willing to have another suggestion. And then I would try that. And then when it worked, I moved forward again, 2 more steps. The key was I saw results, and the results were happening. They were slow at first, but when the first 10 pounds dropped, and they don't promise everything, they say this might happen, but for me, what I noticed is once I lost the first 20 pounds, it wasn't just the weight, it was how I felt. I was sleeping better, my mind was clear, my creative side bounced back really fast. And what it did, it was gave me impetus to keep moving forward. Every time I made movement, I think after the first 90 days, I did my measurements, and I had lost 70 something inches, maybe 60, and that was it. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, the possibility. And then I just kept moving forward.
So this was a group of women, a community of women that were they were on board with a sort of a blueprint that they were showing you, a plan of action.
It was spearheaded by a doctor,
But
Dr. Sarah Gibson,
was it a plan of action or a blueprint or a program?
for each person.
Right.
It depends on each individual person. Once you get your blood work done and they
Okay.
recognize what your needs are,
I see.
then they make the blueprint based on what your needs are. And it is a full package. It's not just supplements. It's exercise, mental awareness. It's changing your sleep patterns, changing how you eat. I increased my calories from 1,200 to 2,000 calories a day, and that's how the weight started falling off. I was thinking I should eat once a day.
So this wasn't something that you received and then you were left to your own resources.
No,
This was
no.
a whole program. This was a whole plan of action.
Yes.
And you were able to have this community to support you.
You have a weekly coach meeting, and that person talks to you every week. You have a nutritionist that works with you every week, and then you have a medical professional that you work with. It's usually every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. They talk to you about everything that's happening, and then within that, there's also a team that helps you with your proper exercise. They also talk to you. I had before I would sleep at night, they gave me my individualized hypnosis, and that was about 30 minutes in the evening. They gave you material to read. Most of it's all online, so you read it. What I liked is that I didn't have to buy a book. What it was is they did download specific journals. I wrote, I journaled, I used my diary, I kept track of food. The other part that's huge is I identified for my personal self what my challenge was, and that is when I was working and sitting for great lengths of time, I had a difficult time just doing the work without hand to mouth. So I would have things I shouldn't be eating with me at work,
Right.
and I would just eat. I
Well-
changed that.
Well, let me take you back. So what you're saying then is, I'm hearing, okay, so this community of women was crucial, and the support you received was really important. What would you say to a woman who was in your situation, and she's really being challenged with all of the physical, emotional, mental symptoms that menopause throws at you? And what would you say to someone if they were looking to find a solution for themselves like you did? What would be your specific advice or suggestion?
Well, I've had this question asked of me a lot in the last year. Every time I come across somebody I've talked to in my work or out within my family, anyone will ask me, what is it that I'm doing? And a lot of times they jump to conclusions, but when I explain to the person, it's a full picture. You don't, and it isn't something that you wake up and it just happens to you. First of all, menopause does happen to us,
Right.
but the solution is not the same. You actually have to be actively involved in the process. So, yes, I spent the money. I tell people this isn't going to be something that's an overnight quick fix. You have to learn about your body, learn about the new changes, learn about what is different now than was before so that you can make appropriate adjustments and then you make a life change. I'm not the same person I was.
So you're talking about you make a lifestyle change.
Everything has
Okay.
changed. Anything I'm doing now is not the same way I was in 2023. In fact, my journey started in February of 2024, and I will tell you, I have not gone back to anything prior to that. Anything the way I did it before, how I thought, I mean, everything. Now that I pay attention, one good example, wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I break my fast with protein. I never thought about that before because in America, everything's about cereals. That is a bad thing. I never now, in fact, I stopped buying that when I learned that for me to kickstart my metabolism, because moving my metabolism is what prevents cortisol from staying within my system so that my body will drop what it doesn't need, the fat, for example. I automatically, and I have a plan. I do meal planning in my head. I have a journal. Before I wrote everything down, but now I've been doing it over a year, so I don't have to worry about that anymore because in the beginning I wrote it, but now I just know. Protein in the morning, I eat every 3 hours. I make sure my sugar levels stay the same all day, but I never thought that was something that I should do. But now my energy level is consistent all day long. It's not, I don't have the highs and the lows, but it's a life change. I had to decide this is what I'm going to do, and then I never looked back. I'm not going back.
So basically, this is a program that really you bought into it. You obviously believed in yourself. You took a risk and committed to this program. You got mentored. You got coached. And
Absolutely.
you followed the plan of action pretty religiously. I mean, you were pretty dedicated to it
Absolutely.
and consistent.
So, for example, and this is one of the things, I could not make arrangements in the beginning to have dinner past a certain time. So when my friends wanted to get together, if they wanted to get together, let's say, and have a 7 p.m. dinner, that went against what was best for my metabolism. I stop eating at 6:45 in the evening, and I don't eat anything until the next morning, 12 hours later. I literally will fast. Now, I could join my friends, but I would have hot tea instead. I would join them, but no dessert, no food, because I would make sure I eat. But that was something I had to commit to, including family. When family wanted to do XYZ and it didn't work with my plan, I joined them, but I made sure I took care of what I needed. I put what I needed first. And I was a person who didn't used to do that. I would put everyone else's needs first.
Right.
And now I don't do that. Now what happens is for me to stay healthy, for me to fix what I needed to do so I could, have what I wanted, I could no longer put everybody else what they needed first. I had to put myself first. And it might sound selfish, but one of the things I've learned is that being selfish is not a bad thing. Taking care of myself then allows me to be a better mother, a better wife, better everything.
Right. Excuse me.
And that's what's important, is because sometimes we have to be selfless. And sometimes selfless is debilitating and dangerous to a woman's health.
Yeah, I hear you. So what's your perspective now on where you're at?
I'm into maintaining right now. What that means is I am still paying attention to what I eat. My focus is always making sure that we have dinner And
Right.
I cook for what I want. And then if you want, you join me.
Which is
If
most
you don't,
times because it's all good.
yeah, or if you don't want to, I don't feel bad. I'll cook something, and if I'm hungry, I'll take care of what I need. And if you want to eat, you join me. And if
Right.
you don't, that's okay. Sometimes you come and sit and visit with me, even though it's not
Right.
a time for you to eat or whatever. So there's that. Food is really important. I pay attention to that. When I go to restaurants, I pay attention to the menu. I learned a lot about sodium and different kinds of salt. And so currently, right now, I've increased my exercise. I really am
Right.
trying
Right.
to keep my body move. I want my body to move more, and to do that though, that takes effort. But soon I'll be retired, so I won't have to do
But
any of
but
that.
you started exercising and you go to the gym with me now, and so
Yes, and the other thing too is when we don't go to the gym, when I'm home, I have again because my team. There's it's called the club, and in the club they have specific things that you can do. They post different types of exercises, strength exercises, flexibility exercises, so you don't have to go to the gym. I mean, I like to have that as an alternative balance. I don't want to always do the same thing every day.
no, I hear you.
And so having the gym as an alternative, and it's I ask you too, because you've been training more than I have in a different way. So you give me good suggestions and if I'm not sure, that's the other thing. I sometimes feel we are not our own best counsel. And so we should look to others who are experienced with areas that we may not be experienced in. And exercise for me is one of those things.
Right.
I'm a dancer, so you ask me about that, I'll be happy. Like, that's easy. But when it comes to other types of training, I come to you, you give me suggestions, and then I try those things. But because I'm exercising more, I have fewer aches and pains. My knees aren't bothering me. I tore my, was it my left?
I don't know.
It was my right here. So
I don't know
it was
what that
my
is.
meniscus.
Yeah, maybe. No,
Yeah,
meniscus, is
So
it?
I think so. I tore that 2 years ago. So, but what I learned is it's healed, and I can do exercises, and it doesn't bother me.
Well, I want to ask you this question: How thrilled are you? You may only celebrate this quietly with yourself that you made the move, that you stepped forward and were courageous, not knowing if it was going to all work, investing the money, and so forth. How good do you feel about yourself that you were courageous and took the risk and stepped forward?
Well, when our daughter got married in October, when it first was announced, I got excited because I realized that I could get into a dress and it looked amazing, and it was the size that I was when I was in my 30s. And I never thought that that was going to happen. And so what I'm enjoying is that I'm enjoying that I get to feel healthy and experience my day-to-day life without the neglect that I was neglecting myself, and without depression. And it helps me get through each moment as they come, whatever those experiences are, because I'm not holding on to all that negativity from how I felt about myself, because I felt powerless. And now I feel powerful.
That's great. That's great. Well, listen, I really appreciate your taking the time to talk about this. I think that more men need to be aware of it, and hopefully more women will decide not to settle. So
I think talking about it, this is something I would share with anybody out there, especially if you're a man and you're involved in a relationship with a woman, or you have girls of your own, or you have a mother or even a grandmother that you're in relationship with. Here's the thing. In the past, people kept this a secret, and that is one of the reasons why it's something that we don't know a lot about. And so symptoms are different for every person. But in today's, nowadays, more current, there is a new wave happening, and that is talking about menopause, and that just because you're a woman who had children, you had a good job, whatever career, whatever you did, your life is not over. Just because you have all these different symptoms that have happened to you, there are solutions, and you have a right to those solutions so that you can continue to be productive in the way you want in your healthy journey in life.
Well, there you go. I think we'll end on that. And listen, I appreciate you. I hope you check this out. And that's it.
Okay.
As they say in Hollywood, that's a
That's a
wrap.
wrap.